We've got time for a WTF. You got anything else to
There's
say?
always time for a WTF, Simon.
Okay, I just because this stuff needs to be cleared up. Last week, Craig Walker wrote in about a film he saw on either the Horror Channel or maybe Channel 4 in the late 1990s. It was about a woman whose husband died, and she sees his figure through the window by a tree, and it starts to walk towards the house. There's also a scene at a graveyard where she has his photo, and when she looks at it, it's trying to get out of the picture. The last scene as she's dying was to say, "I'll come back for you." Mark thought it might be the others.
The Terminator.
Oh, yeah, it was a bit that, yeah. Anyway, it's not the others. Craig writes on our YouTube channel, "Thanks for reading it out. It's not the others. It's the photo in the graveyard that really sticks in my mind. She's by his grave and there's a jump scare of his photo trying to get her." However, Rob writes in, "I believe this may be a misremembering of the M.R. James short story, The Mezzotint, or The Mezzotint, excuse me, in which James appears to poke fun one of his academic colleagues' response to a print of a house appearing to reenact the kidnapping of a baby through successive appearances of a shrouded figure as it walks from a graveyard to the house and back again. Another suggestion from James the Human Sloth." Why would you call yourself that? Anyway? The dead husband one could be perhaps the French film Under the Sand, with a bravura performance by Charlotte Rampling. I recall viewing it on Channel 4 in the early 2000s, but I've not seen it for ages, so I can't recall all the details half remembered by your listener, but it does sound quite similar. Of course, I could be way off. So, Rob, you know what to do. A double bill of Under the Sand and a whiz through The Mezzotint. Okay, so that's that. Right, here's the new one, Mark, okay?
Yes, okay.
Sharpen this brain. This is from Rob in Manchester. "I have wondered about this film for many years, and your WTF feature has given me some hope of finally finding out what this film might be called. I saw this film about 30 years ago on TV. It's set in Japan, I think. It might be China." It's always... That's
or
always
France.
Positive or was it Glasgow? Anyway, it was 30 years ago. A young man's parents die, and he obviously misses them badly. Somehow he comes across a strange part of the city or town near where he lives, and he finds a place where he can visit the ghosts of his dead parents. He visits them frequently and then returns to his family. All is good, except that his family starts to notice that he is aging rapidly with each secret trip. Basically, interacting with his parents' spirits is draining the life force out of him. He then has to make the heartbreaking decision to stop seeing them. That's what I can remember anyway. It was a very moving film and made even more poignant as my mother had just passed a few days before. Anyway, WTF. What's that film? I've searched many times and I've never found it. Any ideas? What do we think?
Yeah, I mean, weirdly enough, it sounds like a Hirokazu Koreeda film, and it also, when I was reading that the first time, I mean, it does ring a bell. It definitely rings a bell. Probably the wrong bell, as I said, with the Koreeda thing. Although it put me in mind of Dark Water when she goes to the part of town and she discovers that her mother is still living in the apartment. Her mother that she believed was dead is still living in the apartment, but is ghostly. But it isn't Dark Water, and if it is a Koreeda, I can't remember which, but it definitely rings a bell, and somebody will be listening to this and jumping, because that definitely rings a bell. It's actually, I think it's not that obscure of a film, and I wish I could remember it.
In which case, someone will have seen it. So if you have, and you can help Rob in Manchester, or if you have any other WTFs, let us know. Before we do a new one, G.R. Robertson, aged 57 and 2/3, would like a word.
Yeah.
Dear Dawn of the Dead, 1978, and Dawn of the Dead, 2004. Outrageously long-time listener, but meekly first-time emergency mailer. Yeah. As a man with autism, when I hear an incorrect statement of fact, it's like the sound of fingernails screeching down the blackboard of my soul.
Okay.
Sadly, this has happened twice now from the esteemed movie mastermind, Mark Kermode.
Oh, dear.
This is going to blow your mind.
Okay, go on.
Twice, Mark has said, quote, "I don't want to have to remember my husband. I want to love him now." Was not spoken in the film Battle for the Planet of the Apes, but in Cabaret. Yet, if you check the trailer for the film on YouTube, those very lines are spoken by Lisa, wife of Caesar, and naturally appear in the film like this.
I don't want to have to remember my husband. I want to love him now.
go.
My mind is blown.
They may also appear in Cabaret, but for that, I will bow to the Great Kermode Mountain as being a fact. Tickety-tonk to all neurodiverse people and all that. So
well, this is astonishing. It's astonishing.
That line can't be in both films, can
No, it can't. And here's the thing. I don't remember it as I don't want to remember my husband. I remember it as but I want to love you now, okay? And as I said, I had a clear memory of this line being in Battle for the Planet of the Apes. And then I went back and watched it, and it wasn't in Battle for the Planet of the Apes. And then it turned out that there is a line, well, a very similar line in the trailer for Cabaret, which I saw when I first saw Battle for the Planet of the Apes. And I believed in my mind that I had taken the line from Cabaret, which I saw the trailer for, and put it into Battle for the Planet of the Apes. This, I have to tell you, is one of the most... I mean, I know that it's hard to express how much my mind is blown by the fact that that line, or something pretty close to it, is actually in Battle for the Planet of the Apes. And it has shaken my very understanding of the world to its foundations.
There you go.
Yeah.
So when I read this last night, I thought, well, this is interesting, because you were certain about something, then you were uncertain about it, then you were certain again, and now you're uncertain about it.
My mind is completely blown.
Might it be that line appears in both movies then?
It's possible, or maybe the world is changing around. I don't know. I can't explain it. This is almost the most supernatural thing that has ever happened to me, other than the time that Ken Russell saw a ghost.
Sitting in it with a sheet over your head, pretending it's an audio baffle, and it obviously has hallucinogenic qualities.
Yeah.
We have a new one for you, Mark.
Okay.
From Emily Keatley's back on.
Okay.
Dear, I'm never going to watch Jeremy, and, well, I'll lend it to you anyway. This film has been bugging my partner for ages. It involves a scene in a car, or possibly a van, and possibly in the dark, where a man possibly vomits out a whole cat. Okay, well, that's nicely specific. That sort of narrowed it down a bit. We thought it was perhaps Tales from the Dark Side film, but when we got to the end of watching the whole thing, my partner turned to me and said, well, that wasn't it. So while there is a cat vomit scene, he is adamant that the film he is thinking of involves a vehicle in the dark, and I seem to remember that too. I mean, how many films can there be that has someone throwing up a whole cat, which, incidentally, is still alive? Now, I was thinking it could maybe be one of the pet cemeteries, the cat being Churchill, but I don't think so. On the plus side, if we never do find out what it is, at least we got to see Debbie Harry playing a pretty cool witch. Thanks in advance. Tickety tonk, shut up buttwad, and hello to Jason. Emily in Mansfield. Second place in the wheelbarrow race. Third place in potato, because we couldn't be trusted with eggs, and spoon race in 1979. That sounds rubbish. So what, a potato and spoon race? That isn't a thing. Anyway, do you remember a movie for Emily where someone vomits up a whole cat?
Well, here's the thing. The key sentence in there is, how many films can there be that has someone throwing up a whole cat? Now, when I read this, it rang a bell, but I just incidentally thought, let me Google films in which people throw up cats, okay? Graydon Clark's Uninvited. A cat sicks up another cat-like creature that attacks people before crawling back into the cat's mouth. That takes place on a boat. And apparently in Brand New Cherry, there is a scene of a man vomiting up kittens. However, I think the film that you're referring to is Drag Me to Hell, which has a scene in which a demon possesses somebody who was at a seance, and the guy throws up a cat. I don't remember the cat being alive, but it's definitely a whole cat or a kitten. So I think the film you're thinking about, but I may well be wrong, is Drag Me to Hell. But the most interesting thing is, on the question of how many films can possibly involve a scene of somebody sicking up a cat, more than you would have thought.
It's a whole new subgenre, I think.
It really is.
Vomiting up a cat. Movies to be discussed. mayo@bbc.co.uk.